Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Good morning, folks. Brad Walsh here, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest is Maria Diaz, based out of Toronto, Canada. She is a mortgage broker, has just recently become a self-love body positivity coach. Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How's your morning so far?
It's been quite exciting. And first of all, I want to thank you for having me on your podcast. And I really want to acknowledge you for creating such a platform for women. It's such a blessing. And I'm so appreciative.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to recognize that. That makes me feel very good. Thank you very much. I'm just glad that I can bring this platform so women can share their stories and their journeys with other women, and hopefully in the process of them sharing their stories, it helps other women out there that are dealing with similar things or going through similar journeys or struggles, whatever the case may be.
Yes, absolutely. For me, what I've discovered in life is that when I'm vulnerable and I share of myself and my experiences, it really gives access for other women and just people in general to be able to share of themselves and to be able to heal. And I think that that's really, really important. So this platform is just incredible because it does give women that access to be able to relate to the people that you interview, to the women that you interview, and heal or at least know that they're not alone. And I think that makes a huge difference.
Well, good. That's so wonderful to hear. That's a wonderful compliment, and I'm just glad that I'm able to bring this platform for women to share their stories. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So you've had quite the journey. You're a mortgage broker. You've had lots of experience on the other side of coaching, being coached by many different people. And I know you just recently became a coach yourself. So how did you make that jump or transition to become a coach? Where did that all start and where did that come from?
So within my mortgage business, I've always been driven to excellence, and I've always been driven with a passion to really help people. And as part of my mortgage business, I was always going to events, trainings, and I really developed this thirst for self-development, for self-growth. And as I expanded in all the trainings that I took as a mortgage broker, it evolved into like really looking at my own life and really looking at the things that I wanted to develop and that I wanted to shift in my own life. And in 2014, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Oh. And that totally shifted my way of being. From like, this is great information. I would go to a program or a course. I would take a lot of notes and I would take them home and they would just sit in some shelf.
Right. As so many of us often do.
Sorry?
As so many of us often do. We go take courses or seminars and we take the note right like fiends when we're there, and then we put the notes away and forget about them and they sit on that shelf.
Yeah, and at the time it sounds great. The information sounds amazing. And at the time I could really see how much life could shift if I actually took that on. Right. So it was like, oh, this is all gold. This is amazing. Then I would go home and I would sit on a shelf and I would only implement the things that would be important in my business for my clients.
Right.
However, having to face death and having to deal with all of that really shifted my way of thinking. And then it was like, no, I'm not going to wait any longer to really work on my life. And part of not, it's not like we walk around thinking that it's not, I think that what happens is, well, at least for me, what happened is that I walked around thinking that it was possible, but I didn't know how to then take all that information that I learned and actually apply it in my own life. I didn't even know where to begin.
Right.
So, as I started to really be intentional about that, I started taking programs and I started hiring coaches. And I really began to learn that every time I wanted to change something or shift something drastically in my life, hiring a coach was the most sensible thing to do.
Right.
The most loving thing to do for myself.
Right.
Because what it would have taken me, something that would have taken me 2 years to accomplish, I would do it in 6 months. Because I would be hiring somebody who knows, who has already either been through or learned how to solve that which I wanted to transform, and then just showed me how to do it. And
but
then
isn't selecting a coach a very tedious, long process? Because I mean, how do you find the right coach for you? I mean, everybody has different wants and needs, so that's got to be a very difficult process in itself.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
For me, I really went based on intuition for myself, and I would interview people.
Right.
And the other thing that really helped is getting people referred to me.
Yeah.
So I would always look to other people. I always made sure to get mentors in my business. So I would look to a mentor, or I would look to a friend, or I would really research somebody, another woman who has achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. Okay. And then I would just ask questions like, how did you get here? What did you learn? And then through that process, I was able to hire, the coaches that were really a good fit for me.
Excellent. Okay. So do you, in your coaching business, like I said, I know you're fairly new, but is your target audience solely women?
My target audience is women. And why? So my coaching business, I just launched it this basically last week.
Right.
However, I have been coaching people for years. I've been coaching because as part of self-development, I really innately, something that is really important for me is to contribute to others.
Right.
For me, the way that I live life is that I want to leave every life that I come across better than I found it, with some sort of contribution in any way that I can.
That's awesome.
And that's how I live my life. And so as I started doing programs, I got deeper and deeper into then becoming a coach in those programs. So I've actually coached for quite a while.
Okay.
And learned a lot of skills on how to really be grounded for another human being. And that has been really powerful in my life. So this was just basically a matter of time.
Right.
For me to
it's just a natural progression, right?
Exactly.
So what is your inspiration for being a coach? Where does that come from, and what is it specifically that inspires you to do this?
Having the knowing that what my life used to look like before. Okay. The suffering, the pain, the negative self-talk, the that not knowing what to do in certain circumstances, like feeling like life, like I was at the effect of life. So knowing what that looks like and experiencing what that looks like, and now experiencing what it feels like and what it is like to live in my own power, to be my own leader in my life, to trust myself, to fully love myself, and to experience such aliveness, to know that I can just create. And now I live a created life. Like I design my life. And for me, nothing has had more power than to experience this. I want every woman to experience this.
That's incredibly powerful.
I want every mom to experience this so that then they can show their kids. Like, I mean, I hired my 14-year-old yesterday to do all my marketing and social media,
That's
everything
awesome.
technology based, and I'm paying her a salary. And
Wow.
yesterday, as we were working till about 2:00 in the morning, yeah.
Wow.
She actually said to me, "Wow, Mom, with all the stuff that I'm learning about how you're building your because I'm basically just finalizing my first program,
Right.
a 6-week program."
Okay.
So she's like, "Wow, and all of this building and everything that you're doing, I can really see that I can build my own program." I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
"Okay, so what do you want to build?" She's a writer. So she's writing her own, she's writing a trilogy right now,
Wow.
fiction for teens.
Incredible.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. So she's like, I could really see that I can create a business. I can actually create a 6-week program for teens or young people to learn how to write.
Wow.
Like, wow, that's pretty cool. She goes, let's do your stuff first. And then when I see how everything works, then I'll go create mine. And for me, nothing, absolutely nothing lights me up more than to see that I could be that type of example for my daughter, that I could teach my daughter that she could do anything at any point in time in her life, and she doesn't have to wait to be an adult, and she could just create, she could just trust in herself. And I cried because I was completely overjoyed.
Well, that's my why. That's your mom moment right there. Like, that's incredible to see that you've inspired your daughter with what you're doing in your journey to realize that, hey, you know what? Mom's doing this. I can do this too. And you're right. She doesn't have to wait till she's 19 or 20 to start it. Why not start now? That's amazing. You're such an amazing role model. That's incredible.
Thank you.
You should be very, very proud.
So wanting to really, to really, I just want every woman to be able to have that access.
Awesome.
To have that personal power.
And that's your goal through your coaching business.
That's my why.
Yeah.
That's my why. Like, women that I have coached in the past, have healed relationships with their parents or with their spouses. Mm-hmm. I healed my relationship with my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. So, after I had breast cancer, I just basically shifted my entire life. And one of the things that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do was to let go of my 20-year relationship with my ex-husband, because we had created a toxic relationship that just didn't work. And through my process, the most beautiful transformation that I had was to go from being a victim and living in victimhood.
Yeah.
To taking accountability and responsibility for my behavior in my life. That was a game changer for me.
I'm sure. That's a lot of change and shifting in mindset and in your life in general. I mean, cancer and ending a 20-year relationship with your husband. Wow. That's just all of it at once. And usually that's the way things happen, right? All this stuff you get hit at once, but you rise above. And I mean, we have no choice. You've just got to rise above it and do what you need to do and look after you, right?
Yes, resilience comes a long way.
Yes, for sure.
And choosing to respond to life instead of being at the effect of it, that was another game changer for me. So just assessing the situations and just being with my emotions about it. Uh-huh. And then always going into, okay, this is what life is like right now. This is what's happening. And it's not necessarily something that I like or want. However, how am I going to respond? And what is it going to teach me? So asking the right questions is really, really powerful.
That's incredibly inspiring. So I know you're also big on the advocacy for positive body image. What prompted you to work on that and advocate for that? Where did that come from?
It was born from the fact that when I had breast cancer,
Mm-hmm.
I chose to remove my right breast so I
Right.
could get rid of the cancer.
Okay.
And when my doctor, first of all, my doctor suggested for me to have a surgery so that he could go back into my breast and double check and take out more tissue to have it tested to
Mm-hmm.
see if cancer was still in my breast.
Right.
And then I went and I did my own research. At the time I was still with my ex-husband, and he was awesome in doing research. So we researched, and then I found out that the highest possibility that I had to live was for me to remove my breast.
Okay.
And I was puzzled as to why my doctor didn't suggest that right away. So I asked for another appointment. I went to go see my doctor, and I said, well, why are we doing this middle surgery when you could actually just remove my breast?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if there's any chance that I have a potential of getting breast cancer in my other breast, why don't we just remove both?
Yeah.
And he said, well, the reason why I didn't suggest that is because a lot of women get very depressed and distraught by losing their breasts, which is part of their anatomy, is part of their sexuality, their sensuality, and their body image. And I said, well, you know what? I have 2 daughters at home, one of which the other night I tucked in, which was my younger daughter who was 8 at the time.
Right.
I tucked her in, and she looked up at me and she said, Mom, you can't die. You can't leave me. I'm just a little girl and I need my mom. I need you to teach me things. And I made a promise to her that I wasn't going to leave her.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to fulfill on that because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Of course.
But I was determined to fulfill on that. So I said, look, I have my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I really have no need for my breasts at this point in time in my life.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. I said, what would you do if it was your wife? And he said immediately, I would remove her breast. I said, then that's exactly what we're going to do, book the surgery.
But I'm just surprised that, I mean, even though he explained why he didn't tell you, I would have thought that he would be obligated to provide that option for you as a doctor.
Yes. I thought so too. And in his mind, he was trying to save my breast.
Okay.
And I got curious. At that point in time, I got curious. And I actually found out I even had a friend whose sister died from breast cancer because she refused to have her surgery. She didn't want to lose her breasts.
Wow.
And at that time, I got really intrigued at how women are so attached. We are so attached to the way that we look and the way that we are experienced by others out there in the world, that we're willing to literally lose our lives so that we can look a certain way. And that just shifted things for me. I never wanted that to get in the way of anything in my life.
Of course.
And then I started doing work on self-love. Okay. So doing the work on learning how to love every part of me. You know, I always say, I love the good, the bad, and the ugly, the nasty. I could list you all my nasties right now without any shame.
Yeah. Well, that's the way everyone should be. That's the way everyone should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just women, men as well. Because everyone. men struggle with body positivity as well. But everyone should be proud of who they are and accept, as you said, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we all have it, all of us. It doesn't matter who you are.
Absolutely. And so, you know, it was a journey. It wasn't something that happened overnight.
Yeah.
So I've been on this journey for 5 years.
Right.
And part of my healing was doing a lot of work around self-love, and then doing work around, getting back out there and dating. I'm like, what? I'm like, I never imagined myself in my 40s dating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was something else that actually really, I've learned a lot and about myself. I've learned a lot about myself. And so when I said, okay, I'm ready. I've done a lot of work. I've healed a lot. I think I'm ready to go and attract my king.
Yeah.
And so I hired actually Beth, who's somebody that you also know.
Yes.
So I hired Beth. Yes. Yeah. I hired Beth as my sex, relationship, intimacy coach.
Wow.
And when I hired her, I was like, oh, this is going to be delicious. This woman is going to teach me, how to have wicked orgasms and how to have a lot more pleasure in my sexual life and all of these incredible things. And she had me do a lot of inner work, and I did a lot of crying. Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of reflecting, and I was very confronted. And I'm like, I think I want to fire you, Beth. I didn't want to sign up
making you work, right? Do all that work. It's got to be tough. I mean, opening yourself up and actually really looking at yourself in the mirror, looking within, yes, seeing what's inside you and seeing who you really are. It's got to be tough.
It is. It's tough while going through it and experiencing it. And it is such a beautiful discovery.
That's
it's such
amazing.
A profound discovery. Like I know myself intimately. And in knowing myself, in knowing myself intimately, that's where I discovered to truly love my body, my own skin. Like I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable in my own nakedness. I'm comfortable in who I am and how I show up as a woman and as a human being and as a mother and as an entrepreneur and as a friend and as a daughter and as a sister. And so it really shifted that deep diving into self-love and self-discovery and acceptance, compassionate acceptance of who I am. I recently posted on Facebook about my relationship with my ex-husband, and it was really about taking accountability and responsibility for who I was being in that relationship. In that relationship, I was a liar. I didn't communicate. I was distant. I was afraid. I was a fraud. I played the victim. I used to blame him for everything, blame everyone for everything, because there's nothing wrong with me. It was always easier to point the finger outwards than to look inside and deal with my own ways of being in life.
Wow, that's pretty deep and pretty incredible that you went that deep into things, and you are willing to admit that it wasn't just him. A lot of it was you. And I mean, let's be honest, relationships are two-way streets. They're not, most of the time, it's not all one person, right? It's a two-way street, and we're human. We make mistakes and we do things wrong, but being able to own up and own your shit and admit that you fucked up and you were part of the problem, that's pretty incredible, because not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, thank you for the acknowledgement. And that was the key to my freedom.
Wow.
That was the key to my freedom, because you know what? Now, whenever I F things up, and I do all the time.
We all do. We're human.
We're human. I'm a human being. So when I F things up, I can come up to you and I can say, oh my God, you know what? I fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what I did, or this is what I didn't do. And how did it make you feel?
Yeah.
And what can we do now? And this is what I'm learning. And, I really get interested in the impact that I've created over there with you, so that I can learn what doesn't work about my behavior. And then I can take on something new, a new way of being, a new behavior, a new habit. So for me, shifting habits has been really powerful. Going from having this victimhood mentality into being resilient and courageous and really taking accountability for when I screw up or when I create a negative impact in somebody else's life. And so that has been something that has given me power. And it has created such a level of trust, because when I show up, I open myself up so you know exactly who I am and what to expect. There's no guessing.
Right.
You don't have to guess.
Yeah.
You know exactly where I stand. And
That's
there's nothing
amazing.
more beautiful than to be that for people, to create those levels of boundaries. That's another big one for me. Yeah. I had no boundaries. I was a people pleaser. I was a yes woman for everything. I put everyone else's needs before mine. Yeah. So I became sacrificial in my marriage as a mom. And then I resented my family. I was pissed at them.
Yeah.
Because I was empty.
Because you had nothing, your tank was empty. You had nothing left to give. Because you had nothing for yourself. You gave everything to everyone else.
Yeah. And I was exhausted. I was fucking exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Jesus. So what do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you get through all this and become the successful entrepreneur that you are?
Love.
Okay.
Love.
It's pretty simple and to the point. Love, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing in my life has been more powerful than for me to be love. For me to continuously ask myself this question: how am I being loving in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
To myself and to whomever is involved. How am I being loving? And asking myself, how am I going to show up as a loving human being? What does unconditional love really looks like? It's so pretty to say the words, I love you.
Yeah.
It's simple to say, I love you, and to be in that instant emotion that we feel, right, when we're experiencing something at the moment. Mm-hmm. However, what does love really look like when somebody shows up angry at you, or when your children are not behaving the way that you would like them to, and right. There's an expectation that you have of them, and they're fighting you or on whatever situation. Like how does love fit into all those circumstances that we don't like? That's where everything shifted. When I brought love, and the partner to love is forgiveness.
Yeah, for sure.
So love and forgiveness have been my superpowers.
Amazing. Are there any specific tools or specific books that have helped you on your journey? Something
that I always tell women to do is, one, write a forgiveness letter. Pick 2 or 3 really pivotal moments in your life mm-hmm. that created trauma or created something that has been detrimental or has been painful in your life, and write a forgiveness letter to that young woman.
Right.
For what she didn't know, and for the only thing she knew, because we don't come with a playbook. Like nobody taught me how to have a relationship, therefore, and nobody taught my ex-husband. Right. And so what happened is that we just slapped it all together the best we could with the knowledge we had.
Yeah, you figure it out as you go. Just like being a parent, kids don't come with a manual.
No.
You just have to figure it out. I mean, hopefully you have help from your family, whether it be your parents or grandparents or whatever the case may be. But as they say, it takes a village to raise.
It does.
Right? So both
of my daughters have been raised by a huge village, and I'm very grateful to all those people who over the years have supported me. I haven't done it alone. And that's another thing. I don't have to do it alone. I learned not to have to do it alone. We women, we want to be super moms and super wives and super everything. And we want to prove that we can make it on our own and that we can do it ourselves. And that backfires. So having the courage and the knowing that we don't do things on our own by ourselves. The woman that I am today is made up of hundreds of people who have supported me.
Well, we have to learn as humans to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. You can't do everything yourself. It's not the way things work. And if you try and do everything yourself, you'll end up fucking exhausted, just as you were. You have to be able to ask for help, and you have to know that it's okay to ask for help. Absolutely.
And just to finish answering your question, so writing a forgiveness letter to oneself, to the younger version of yourself for the things that you didn't know. And then another game changer is like writing a love letter. We often profess our love to other people, especially in romantic relationships. But how many times do you profess your love to yourself?
Never, usually. And I'm sure a lot of people could say the same thing.
Yeah, you're the one human being that you live with all of your life. You are your own most intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's something that we don't even think about.
You're right. I have never, ever, I can honestly say I've never, ever thought about that, looked at things that way. Write a love letter to yourself. I think that's where probably that's a good jumping off point or starting point for self-love, for teaching yourself self-love, is writing a love letter to yourself. That's amazing.
Yes. And for me, one of the first books that I ever read that really shifted a lot for me was Think and Grow Rich.
Really?
That book is massive.
Okay.
With learning about how our brain works, our subconscious mind, and setting intentions and really, really designing a successful life. And success, I really learned that success doesn't mean money, doesn't mean material things. It doesn't mean status. Success is the person that I become through the process, the person that I grow into. And the money, the acknowledgement, all of the material things, they all come as a result of the person that I grow myself to be.
That's so inspirational. I love it.
And for me, that shifted the experience, because another thing that happened throughout all of this is, because when I came out of my relationship, I didn't know myself. And I really needed to do a lot of work. My older daughter went through, both of them deal with mental health. They deal with anxiety, depression, different things. So it's been quite the journey. And I actually took 2 years out of my business to work on my life and my daughter's lives and healing my relationship with my ex-husband. Because when I first exited that relationship, I didn't like him very much. I actually was extremely angry and resentful. He couldn't have a conversation with me. I would jump down his throat and I would want to make him wrong for everything, because everything was his fault. Everything negative that happened in our lives was his fault. And through self-development is how I really learned how to shift all of that. And so the thing is that the point that I'm making is that I lost everything. I had to sell my house because I used up all the equity. I had to get rid of my car. I had to go from having, a large amount of money in the bank account all the time to pay my bills. I didn't even know when the bills were coming up because there was always more than sufficient funds.
Right.
I had my home and investments and all kinds of things, right? And it all disappeared. And at one point in time, sometimes I didn't even have money to buy food, or I didn't have I remember one winter not having money to buy my daughter's winter boots.
Wow.
And just crying because she had to wear running shoes in the middle of the winter, and I just didn't have any money. And that's what taught me how to ask for help, and how to accept contribution, and how the material part of life, it comes and it goes, and it doesn't make me who I am. So through those experiences, I learned to love myself exactly where I was, and that the home and the car and the money wasn't what made me powerful or successful or beautiful or, anything that I thought. What made me...
It's just material things. That's all they are.
They're just material things, and they come and they go. And what actually makes me the person that I am is my character.
Yeah.
It's my core values. It's who I am in other people's lives. That's what makes me a leader. That's what makes me valuable.
Wow.
Is the love that I have to give.
That's pretty incredible. Very deep. We went really deep there.
That's the only way I do it.
That's okay, though. I like to hear it. I want to hear people's stories. I want to hear women's stories and what their struggles and their journeys. Like I said, the point of this, when we were speaking earlier, before we got on air, the purpose of this is to have women share their stories and their journeys, so it can hopefully help other women that are listening, and they can benefit from it. If someone can benefit from another person's journey or story, all the better, right?
Absolutely. And that's why for me, being authentic and vulnerable and sharing all is very important, because it would be easy to just paint a certain picture. Oh, yes. I just took all of this on and it was easy for me and look at me. No, it's fucking hard. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I've spent so many times healing, like literally in the tub, crying for hours, being with myself and my emotions.
Yeah. Well, let's go on a different route, a little less serious. Just some simple, easy stuff for you. What sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love?
Yeah.
I love music.
Music, okay.
I wake up to music. I go to sleep with music. Music lights me up.
Awesome. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck. Definitely.
Of course it is. I think that's everybody's favorite curse word. It's very versatile.
In so many ways.
Yes, exactly.
So versatile.
Yep. If you could have one superpower, what would that superpower be?
I feel like I already have my superpower, which is love.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to stick with that one.
All right. That's fair. Love is a superpower. You're right. What's a passion of yours that you rarely share with people, and why not?
As you're saying that, I guess salsa dancing. I love salsa dancing. I love the movement, the sexiness, the sensuality. And I don't always walk around sharing that, but I love it.
Okay. What's your favorite quote?
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Love it. What is your biggest high, your greatest win up to now, up to this point in your life, would you say?
My greatest win is healing my family, is really taking a completely dysfunctional, toxic, abusive situation and turning it into love. My ex-husband and I love each other. We're great friends.
Right.
We support each other. We're partners in raising our daughters. I have taught my daughters that you can that with love, you can turn any situation as hopeless as it seems, as difficult and painful as it seems. You can turn any situation into a triumph. And for me, my family has been my biggest triumph. Having the relationship with my ex-husband that I have, and having the relationships and intimacy that I have with my daughters, and knowing that I I really did everything that it took to create that within us. Like no matter what, both of my daughters, if and when they choose to get married, will be walking down the aisle with both of their parents without them bickering, or like they never have to worry about their mom and their dad not being able to resolve conflict and not being able to be in the same family gatherings or different life experiences. We celebrate birthdays together.
Yeah.
And so that has been my biggest gift, my biggest accomplishment.
That's a pretty amazing accomplishment for sure. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Get the fuck out of your own way.
I love that one, because I find so often I've been very guilty of that myself many a time when I first left my job and got into the business, is always getting inside my own head and just getting in my own way. It's a horrible thing that we do to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I did it this weekend.
Everybody does it. Everybody does it. It's just you gotta deprogram yourself not to get in your own way.
You become who you hang around with.
Yes.
And so choosing my friendships and choosing who I spend my time with, for me, is very, very important. So I surround myself with people who don't ever let me get away with my own shit. And that's why I've grown so much in 5 years.
Because you've been held accountable.
Any of my friends and just bitch and complain and whine. And their first question after they listen to me, they grant me that space.
Yeah.
The first question is like, so what are you going to do about it? And what role did you play in this?
That's awesome to have accountable friends that hold you accountable. We have to be held accountable for our own shit.
Yes. That's
amazing. That's I mean, it's true. We hear it so many times. Surround yourself with good people, with people that you want to be like. Surround yourself with success. Yes. For entrepreneurs, surround yourself with successful people. Build relationships with people who are successful in a business. Mm-hmm. Surround yourself with people who are further along in terms of their businesses or skill sets or whatever the case may be. That way you learn. That's how we learn, right? That's
how we learn. And guess what? They're dying to teach you.
Yes. I think that again goes back to asking for help. I find anyways in my journey that people are always more than willing to help you out. You just have to ask. That's it.
Absolutely.
So what does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment means self-discovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Plain and simple.
Yeah, plain and simple. Self-discovery. Because if I don't know me and I don't trust in myself, then I can't navigate out there in the world and be empowered and have power to create and power to do. So I truly believe that the root of everything is knowing oneself and loving oneself and accepting oneself.
I was just going to say, everything comes back to us and starts with us.
Always.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
Get out of your own fucking way.
All right. Bestow the best advice you've ever received upon your younger self. Excellent. And lastly, do you have any big projects that you're currently working on? I mean, aside from you alluded to speaking about your program that you're working on, is there anything else you've got coming down the pike that you're working on that you'd like to share?
So yeah, my program, and I really Yeah, that's basically what I'm really focusing on right now.
Okay.
And then I'm always just contributing to other people's evolutions. A lot of my friends have social entrepreneurship companies, and they're out there helping people and doing different things in different communities. So I always like to go and contribute in any way that I can. One of my passions is helping youth. That's a huge passion for me.
Okay.
And so I mentor young people, and my daughter at one point in time was living in a shelter. And so I've learned a lot about what it's like as a young person to be on the streets, and I mentor and a lot of her friends actually who live in shelters or who deal with unhealthy or toxic households. And that's something that I'm continuously working on, that I just pour myself into it, because for me, every young person is our future. And anything that I can do to contribute to their lives in any positive way, especially when they're dealing with negativity, and they don't have those kind of role models that can model for them what healthy relationships look like, or what a healthy way of being looks like. I'm very motivated to help in that regard.
That's incredibly selfless. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, giving us a little bit of insight into who Maria Diaz is. I have to say, this was incredibly informative and educational for me. I learned a lot, and I want to thank you so much for being a guest today and for sharing your journey and giving us a brief peek into your life and your struggles and journey that you've gone through. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Maria. It was a pleasure having you.
It was such a pleasure having this conversation with you. And again, I love you. I acknowledge you. I am thankful for you.
Thank you. That's so nice.
And for what and for what you stand for women. It's beautiful. To have that partnership from our men. It's just a divine partnership to know that somebody who may not always completely get what it's like to be a woman, actually dive into trying to get it, and trying to create that space, and to being intentional about, I'm going to stand for this. That is so powerful, and it's so beautiful, and thank you. I am grateful for you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that acknowledgement. That's very nice of you to say, and I appreciate the kind words. That's wonderful. It makes me feel very, very good and appreciated. So thank you. So once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of the Empowerography podcast. My guest today has been Maria Diaz, mortgage broker and coach, body positivity advocate, self-love advocate. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Blessings.
Have a wonderful day, Maria.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.